I had just lost all my money gambling, and if she could just let me borrow $10 for gas to get home, I would get the money, bring it back to the casino, and we would take care of the room. Needless to say, that didn't go over so well with her. Hey everybody, it's Ryan, aka Way to Cheese. This is Taking Vegas episode, I think we're on episode 5. I've been playing a lot more online volume this week, and I will be in the coming week, and that's because I've got kind of a big life change thing coming up, and it's not really poker related, but you guys will get to see that in the video, in an upcoming video. But we'll still be getting in those live sessions and putting out some really good videos over the next week or two, and couple really special ones coming up that are taking a little more planning and arrangement for. But I know last episode I promised you guys we would get some more poker hands and hand histories in here in this episode, so I'm going to get straight down to the strip right now after I grab something to eat, and we're going to see if we can keep this little winning streak alive. Alright, we're about to go put a session in at the Flamingo. It is a Wednesday, and Flamingo has just consistently been one of the easiest games for me to beat. Not necessarily for the highest hourly, but just really simple autopilot stuff, so I will be shocked out of my mind if we don't make money tonight. I feel like I just jinxed it, right? I'm gonna lose some money tonight, right? I'm actually parked at the Link, formerly rebranded as the Quad from the formerly known Imperial Palace, or as we lovingly called it, the IP, home of the bedbugs and cheap strip central location rooms. I parked here because if anyone's ever parked in the Flamingo lot, it's disgusting. You're lucky to get out of there without like a banged up fender or something. And so I parked at a nearby close competitor for worst parking. We're gonna get in that game and make some money so I don't prove myself wrong here and look like an idiot.
Lights are lit and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. Lights are out and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. One other thing I dare.
Alright, we got some really interesting hand histories today. Gonna jump right into it. Queen of Diamonds, Ace of Clubs, on the button for our first hand we play this session. Why isn't that playing? There we go. Early position, looks like under the gun +1, or under the gun makes it 7. Gets 2 callers, and comes around to me. I definitely am going to have a hand that's either the best or very live here. So I'm going to raise. Usually I'd raise to about 21 to 25 here, but I make it 35. I'm fine with just taking this down pre-flop with ace high. It's a perfect result. But the original raiser, he folds, and one of the limpers call, which is perfectly fine too. I'll go heads up in position with ace queen against someone who just limped $7 pre. Pretty much means he's probably capped at like 9s. Our hands like ace queen, and that gives me a big advantage on the button. Flop comes out king 9 3 rainbow. It's a great flop the c-bet, but if you've watched my videos, I tend to like to delay the c-bet. Gives me more options. I'll talk about why really fast here. If I c-bet here, he's going to call with his kings, and then I'm probably going to check behind turns. And also, he may call with his under pairs, like I said, like 9s. Well, he's not calling. Of course, he's calling with 9s. It's a 9 on the flop. But hands like 10s, 8s. Maybe his straight draw combos, like gutters, like 10 jack, queen 10, and he may try to turn those into bluffs later. I just feel like delaying it till the turn, it gives me actually more options, because if he checks again, that's super weak, green light, we fire, he folds. If he leads the turn, I actually have the option of raising him pretty significantly and folding him off a much better hand. The reason for that is he may try to take a stab at it with a hand worse than a king, which he's never calling a re-raise to on the turn, or he may try to bet a weaker king when my hand will read more like ace king and aces if I just pop the hell out of it. And super rarely we're going to run into something like nines, but not enough to really worry about it on the line. So I wait for this 6 turn, and then I c-bet pretty small because we want it to look like value-ish. I make it 50. Oh, I only make it 40. So a little less than half pot, and he folds pretty quickly. Good way to start things out. Hand number 2, up a little bit at this point. This one, really not pleased with, so of course we're putting it in the video here. 8-9 suited, early position, real early position. I think this is like under the gun +1. I opened for 12. Kind of a slip up here, but in my mind I'm repping an overpair, something like jacks or queens. I get called in 2 spots. Under the gun +2 right after me, and then someone in position. The flop, it's pretty good. 7-8-4, flop top pair. I decided to lead pretty big to keep up this facade of the overpair. There are 2 diamonds on the flop. I make it 50. That's a huge lead here. It should look like scared aces or something. Not happy about it at all, how I played this. This guy to my left, he makes it 120. I feel like this is a set, like always, with super rarely like 10 jack of diamonds, but he's not the type that really is going to go for that raise here with a hand like that. It's just not a spot I can really keep getting involved. He's got more left behind him too. I really expected to just take this down on the flop, repping aces or kings. It's got to be a set. So I do make the fold after the other guy, and I'm super mad about just dusting off $60, $70 on this hand. In terrible position. It's one that's going to make me think about it for a while, and I'm just going to have to kind of work through that. And okay, we changed tables after the frustration of hand number 2. You don't want an image that you're lead folding $50 on flops. Well, I don't. It's not going to work out well for me, so I immediately changed tables. Pick up jacks here under the gun. Alright, let me pause this for a sec. I've been waiting to pick up jacks in early position to show you guys, maybe give you insight on how you can maybe play them. And this hand has the added bonus that we have an aggressive young player in late position. He's on the cutoff in this hand, and so he's going to drive all the action for us. So we limp for $2, let this aggressive player make it 16, and I flat that pre-flop. Flop comes 2-3-10 with 2 spades. Definitely checking back to the aggressive player. No reason for me to inflate this out of position when I can let him bet worse hands. He bets a pretty sizable amount. I feel like we're still way ahead of his range here. So just going to flat. It was $26 he bet. And let him make a decision on the turn. The turn is a king of spades. I don't like that card because it's an overcard. But we definitely are not going to assume that he flopped a flush draw either. In fact, with the limp and the check call, my hand should look the most like a flush draw here. So when I check on the spade, he's going to give me a lot of information if he bets here. The reason being, I think that the spade should slow him down on most hands that are in good shape against me. And also, I really don't think he would bet the king here unless he had exactly the ace or queen of spades to go with it. So the truth is, when he bets here, when he fires on this king of spades after I check, call, and then check, limp, check, call, and check, he's pretty much telling me that he doesn't have jack's beat. Because I really think if he had a king in his hand, he would just check behind here with the spade came out, unless he had, like I said, the ace or queen of spades to go with it. So I check, and he does give me the information I want to know. He bets pretty big. I think he bets like 50 here. Maybe it was like 49. I make the call. The river is pretty harmless. It's a 2 of clubs. There's no reason for me to lead here at all. He folds all the hands we're beating, but he bets a lot of rivers like this. And we pretty much are bluff catching. So there's just not a reason to really bet here. Except we could maybe try to bet like $20 to induce him to just spaz if we really, really want to play a big pot here. I check, he checks behind. I flip the jacks and he insta-mucks. It did help a little bit to make the call on the turn, knowing we had the jack of spades for the redraw to the flush, just in case I misread the situation and I was behind, but I thought that was really unlikely, so that was pretty minor consideration in that hand. Ooh, now we got some chips and stuff. I got king 4 of hearts. Let me see what position I'm in here. Don't think it's particularly favorable. But I'm going to open $8. Get one caller. And everyone else folds, including the blinds. So I'm going to be playing king 4 out of position here against one caller. Flop is jack 4-6. That's perfectly fine. Check, check. Check, check. Goes running 7-6. The issue here is it goes 4-card flush. And I'm pretty sure I had the best hand with the 4s until the river. And now I think we might need to turn the hand into a bluff for 2 reasons. It will get off other pairs on the board that are beating me, and really bad flushes it'll fold out. So I make it look like a super value-ish little suck bet here and just lead $5 into this pot. It might seem like it serves no purpose, but the truth is players at 1-2 like to pride themselves in situations like this on not paying off people in what they see as an obvious situation. So when I make this lead like this, it's just screaming that I have some middling flush, and he's going to fold really weak flushes and pairs that are beating my 4. And like I said, it's just because they pride themselves on not having showdown that they paid someone off on what they consider like a sucker bet like this. So whether or not it was good, the 4, he does fold, and we take that one down, having turned it into a bluff. This next hand bears a little bit of introduction to the action here to explain what I was doing. Under the gun, or under the gun +1, attempted to call $2 to limp this one pre-flop, and accidentally had a red chip in his hand. So he made it $6. He tried to take it back. They wouldn't let him. He got 3 calls before it gets to me. So I think it was like $27 before it gets to me. And obviously they're all showing a lot of weakness here. I definitely am going to try to take advantage of the situation on the button. You know, I don't really think it's bad etiquette. You guys are only going to be out $6. I pop it to 21 with King 7 of clubs, which is totally playable on the button here for this situation. Ideal scenario, I just take this one down pre-flop. I don't hate taking a flop in position. Alright, so let's get this going. Like I said, accidental $6, several calls. I make it 21. I get a call out of the small blind, which is unusual. A pretty quick call. And then fold it around to the last guy that called the 6. And he calls the 21 also. I'm going to be firing around $75 on virtually any flop if it's checked to me. It comes out 5-8-10. I don't have the suits written down here. It was a rainbow or maybe 2. It was definitely not a suited flop. Checks under the gun. Checks the small blind. And the other guy just jams all in 135. Totally ruined my line. I really thought this was going to work out well for me. But, he took my initiative there. That was, I've got no room for a play left. So I've got to fold this thing, which I do, and does the small blind, and the jammer proudly tables 6-7 off for a flopped open-ended. Yeah, 6-7 off. It makes no sense at all. I don't know why he limped the 6 and called the 21. I sort of understand why he wants to open jam there into a big pot. It's just a crappy situation because that is the kind of flop that, generally speaking, I'm going to be able to rep big and just wrap up my line that I started pre-flop. Decided to call it a night, back it up. Obviously down a bit from where you saw the stack earlier in the session, but it's been 4 hours and 45 minutes. I'm just done playing. Cash out up exactly 153 for the night. So a win's a win. Well, played exactly 5 hours and 7 minutes. Mixed feelings. You guys saw, had a pretty good chip stack going for most of the time. What you guys didn't see was the last hour or so. I got in a couple unfortunate situations. Most notably, flop top 2, guy flopped top set. And then another hand, guy flopped a set. I turned the double gutter straight, and he filled up on the river. And it was a check-check river, so I think I lost the minimum there, but down about 250 from where we peaked at, and that's an okay thing. I'll talk to you about it in just a minute. Wow, I'd actually just gotten up from the table, cashed out my chips, walked out of the poker room. This lady jumped on me, and she was like, "Hey man, I just got into Vegas. My man just got arrested by the police. My kids are outside, freezing in the frigid weather." Shouldn't actually say frigid, but you get the point. Could you just give me $48 so that we could get a room tonight? Look, I feel a little bit bad for you, but you gotta come at me with something better than my man just got arrested. I don't think he got picked up helping old ladies cross the street. If you're trying to evoke sympathy from somebody, that's just probably not the best opener. Come at me with like, "Hey man, I really need $5 so I can go get some Crystal Burgers." I'll hook you up, I probably will. I'm kind of a sucker like that. But where do you even get $48? I should have asked her to open up like an app and I should have asked to book the room for her. I wonder if she would have gone for that. Anyways, I went with telling her that I had just lost all my money gambling, and if she could just let me borrow $10 for gas to get home, I would get the money, bring it back to the casino, and we would take care of the room. Needless to say, that didn't go over so well with her. Back to what I was talking about after the session. Don't get frustrated. Don't let it bother you if you leave down from where you peaked. There'll be plenty of times to feel sorry for yourself when it's impossible to squeak out a win because variance is just smashing your face with a nice pick. And that will happen, and you will beg for $10 for gas money. So, never be mad that you win. It can be a little frustrating if you were up a lot and leave down or even, but the game's always there the next day. They don't stop, they keep going. Don't focus on the individual results of a session. Focus on how you played, and if you feel you play well, you did what you could. Countless times I've seen people go way up and then they'll get frustrated. They were about to leave. I'll see them put $1,000 in the rack ready to leave. They'll lose $40 on the next hand. Bam. They stay another hour and they leave with nothing. I think the best story I've heard about that was David Williams did this interview with the podcast with Joey, and he talked about how he ran $10,000 up to $100,000 on sports bets, jumped in a PLO game at the Bellagio, it might have been the Aria, ran it up to like $930,000 or something. His friend said to get off the table, but he wanted it to be $1 million. Then he lost $100,000, and he was like, I'll just get back to where I was. Lost $400,000, I'll just get back half of where I was. And then ended up owing someone like $200,000 for buying back in. So let that be a lesson to you. I almost forgot. Like the videos, thumbs up, share the videos, definitely leave a comment. We're going to do another question and answer session before next video. And so if you guys want to shoot the questions down in the comments below right here, I'll get to as many of those as I can in that question and answer video coming up next. Oh, and definitely subscribe. After that questions and answers video, we're going to have one coming up where I talk about taking shots in poker. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in just a few days. Later.